If you want to shred fat just by walking, I'm about to share the method that helped me get to 7.8% body fat. And it's so simple, you can start doing it today. You probably don't think of walking as real exercise. You picture HIIT workouts where your soul leaves your body, doing mountain climbers on a slippery mat, or packed gyms full of selfie mirrors and flexing. But this is what you may not know. When you combine the right number of daily steps with this method, it's like unlocking the secret code. Suddenly, the fat just falls off without beating up your knees or crushing your hope. I'm an NCAA champion athlete and your fitness expert. And using this exact method, last summer I got to the leanest body fat percentage in my life, 7.8%. And I did it without using any zone 3 cardio, just weightlifting and walking. And what got me lean was the walking. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through 3 key points. 1, how your body burns fat, the basics of how we burn calories. And it's actually really great news for you. Number 2, how to add walking to create a calorie deficit, and why simple walking is the only exercise you need to shred fat. And number 3, how to track your macros, the easiest way to keep an eye on what you eat without going crazy. So let's get started. Part 1. How your body burns fat. I've got some great news about burning calories. It's way easier than you think. I'm about to shatter 3 big myths about how your body burns calories, starting with the first myth. Myth number 1, you only burn calories while you're exercising. Not true. The first fact is mind-blowing. Your body burns calories even when you're doing nothing at all. Just by being alive, you're burning calories. Breathing, keeping your heart beating, basic brain function, they all use energy. Your body burns calories resting. It's also called your resting metabolic rate. And for many people, this burns more calories than all of their exercise combined. It's crazy, right? You could be binge watching my videos and still burning calories. So even at rest, you're a calorie burning machine. Myth number 2, all of your calories go straight to your fat. Not all of them do. The food you eat actually burns about 10% of the calories just to digest itself. You burn calories digesting. And this is also called the thermic effect of food. So imagine you eat a 500 calorie burrito. 50 calories of that burrito go towards breaking down the burrito. Myth number 3, only hard exercise counts as burning calories. Wrong again. All physical activity burns calories, and I mean all. Of course, things like running or lifting weights burn a lot of calories, but so do smaller movements. Walking to the fridge, fidgeting at your desk, walking your dog, or even intense thinking burns a little bit of calories too. The point is, every movement burns calories, big or small. So these 3 sources, resting, digesting, and movement, make up what is called your total daily energy expenditure, or the total calories you burn in a day. So think of it like one side of a balance scale. And on the other side of that scale is the food and drink you consume in a day. That's all the calories you take in. And understanding this balance is the foundation of fat loss. So burning calories isn't as daunting as you thought. Your body is already automatically doing most of the work. Now the question is, how do we tip the scales in favor of fat loss? So to lose fat, we want to increase the activity part of the scale so that it's higher than the amount of calories that we consume. So in practice, this means adding a little bit of exercise during the day. So if your goal is fat loss and you don't necessarily want to look like a gladiator, then guess what? All you need to do is walk. Really, you don't have to suffer through marathon runs or hard spin classes, especially if you don't want to. Just walking can get you amazing results. And that brings us to the next part. Part 2, how to add walking to create a calorie deficit. So let's talk exercise, or more specifically, the easiest form of exercise on the planet, walking. There is a myth out there that you have to do hard cardio to burn fat, and it's simply not true. Plain old walking is a superpower. It's low impact, it's easy on your knees, it doesn't spike your cortisol, and you can fit it into your life really easily. Plus, you can do it while listening to music, a podcast, while you're on the phone with a friend. It might be one of the best exercises ever for multitasking. A lot of people even have walking treadmills they put under their desk. Now, here's the key to losing fat with this method. You only need a moderate calorie deficit. That means burning just a little more than you eat. You don't have to starve yourself. In fact, you get the best results when you aim to burn 300 to 1,000 more calories than you eat. That's enough to see steady fat loss, but not so much that your body freaks out. And for me, I personally like to target about 500 to 650 calories because if you go too far down into a deficit, it really hurts your workouts the next day. And any less than 500 and you're in a margin of error where you might have accounted for something incorrectly. So here's why you don't want to go over 1,000 calories per day for your deficit. When you push your deficit too high, your body might think you're entering a famine. Your body goes into starvation mode. Your body starts sending out hormones and stress signals that actually make you hang on to fat. So you could actually make fat loss even harder by over-exercising and over-starvation. If you keep your deficit between 300 and 1,000 calories, you trick your body into burning just a little bit of fat every day without your body noticing. It's called boiling the frog slowly. In this case, the frog is your fat. Now to the exercise part. That's your walking. How much is enough? The minimum target I recommend is 4,000 steps a day. or that's about 20 minutes. And that's not random. A recent study found that walking 4,000 steps a day was enough to significantly improve your longevity. And from there, every extra 1,000 steps over 4,000 creates a 15% improvement in your longevity. But don't worry, you don't have to do it all at once. You can break it up, little in the morning, little for lunch, and maybe take a stroll after dinner. But remember, 4,000 is the minimum. Everyone has 20 minutes in the day. So let's say you only have 1 hour per day for your walk. You can still be at a calorie deficit, but what needs to give is your calories in. So you might need to use some tricks to cut back on what you're eating so that you still have a calorie deficit of 300 to 1,000 calories. So with a 1 hour walk, you're still able to burn fat just as efficiently as if you spent 2 hours in the gym doing burpees or wall sits. Wall sits burn like crazy. Here's another practical tip. Think in 7-day windows, not just single days. Why? Because weekends happen, social events, spontaneous fun. Those calories still count even if you're taking a quick break. So that's not a problem as long as you're balancing it out through the week. And this mindset helps keep this diet sustainable and helps you avoid giving in if you have one day where you ate a bunch of calories. Just stay accountable and consistent in the long run. So here's a quick caveat. I've largely been speaking to people who need to lose a lot of weight. But if you're already lean and you want to get super shredded, you're going to need to do additional research and tweak your nutrition very carefully. For example, if you're a woman in your mid-30s to 50s, if you want to drop below 20% body fat, doing so is absolutely possible, but you have to be aware of the trade-offs with your hormones and your overall health. If you're a guy who's about 35 to 50 and you want to get under 12% body fat, you absolutely can with this method. But you want to make sure you do your research to ensure you're not sacrificing muscle or your well-being. But for most of you watching, for women, the 20% mark, and for men, the 12% mark, that's a long ways off. So you can cross that bridge when you get there. Because at this rate of 300 to 1,000 calorie deficit per day, you're gonna burn about 1 pound of body fat per week. So you just count the weeks and count the pounds. Part 3. How to keep track of your food, also known as your macronutrients. So how do you know if you're in a 300 to 1,000 calorie deficit? That's where the macro tracker app comes in. That's the same thing as your food tracker. So I know some of you are cringing right now. I don't wanna do it. I don't wanna do it. But there is a giant myth that macro tracking means becoming obsessed with tracking every little morsel you eat and turning into some obsessed accountant. I used to think people that did that were crazy. But what I didn't know is it's super important. And it's actually kind of fun once you get the hang of it. So to simplify, when I say track your macros, I specifically mean using a smartphone app to track the calories you're eating as well as your exercise all day. And the main reason you want to keep a log is for accountability and accuracy. Our brains are talented when it comes to tricking us about tracking our food. If you don't write down what you eat, I guarantee you by the end of the day, you won't remember it. And it's not because you're irresponsible, it's because we're human. Maybe you grab a handful of pretzels here, a granola bar there. Each of those might be 100 calories. And by the end of the day, your brain has conveniently erased them from memory. So when you track everything, there's no hiding. It's all there right in the app. It's pure accountability. Now, the apps make it super easy. You search for the food, you tap it, you enter the amount, boom, it's logged. The apps have huge food databases, and each food already has the specific macronutrients recorded. So you don't have to know what's in an egg. You just type in egg. So then after about a week or so, logging food becomes lightning fast because you're eating similar things, and you just hit again. And it literally takes about 2 minutes of your day. So then you also punch in your exercise for the day. And there's ways you can set up your smartwatch or your phone to automatically enter the steps into your macro tracker app. And then it becomes just like second nature. It's kind of like checking your social media, except this actually benefits you. So there's a bunch of macro tracker apps out there, but the most popular one is probably MyFitnessPal. It's free to set up and it'll get you going right away. But personally, I prefer an app called Lose It, which does the same tracking, but I just like the look and feel of it a little better. So when you set up these apps, they walk you through it step by step so that you can start hitting your daily calorie deficit right away. All right, well done. Let's recap the key points. Your body burns calories in 3 ways: resting, digesting, and moving. Walking is a secret fat loss exercise. You don't need to do a bunch of high intensity cardio unless you want to. And if you do, you'll probably have to eat some more food to keep that calorie deficit in the right range. A moderate calorie deficit of 300 to 1,000 calories a day is the sweet spot. You're not starving yourself to death, you're just burning the frog slowly. Boiling the frog. Slow and steady wins the race here. It leads to consistent fat loss and fewer cravings or energy crashes. And finally, tracking what you eat is a game changer. If you want to thread the needle and hit a 300 to 1,000 calorie deficit, the Macro Tracker app will help keep you honest. All right, with those 3 big pieces of fat loss information, you put them together and you have the Temperance Trek method. Temperance meaning moderation in eating and not stuffing yourself full of everything in sight, and Trek meaning walking, 4,000 steps a day minimum. It's a simple, sustainable formula that helped me get to 7.8% body fat last summer without doing any crazy cardio workouts. So what you learned today is actually helping you build something I call fitness virtue. In classical terms, virtue just means excellence in a certain area. So fitness virtue is like building excellence in your fitness habits. By understanding the science and the methods I discussed, you're cultivating fitness prudence by being smart and strategic and choosing the right path to reach your goals. Then there's fitness temperance. That's controlling what you eat and about being mindful and disciplined with your diet. Every time you make a healthier choice with what you eat or stop eating when you're satisfied or full instead of stuffed, you're practicing fitness temperance. Temperance is not a negative thing, it's empowering. You're not missing out, you're gaining a new level of control and mastery over your own body and health. So if you found this video helpful, inspiring, and informative, hit the like button, hit subscribe, and I want to thank you guys for helping me get my other video up to many thousands of views. And if you learned a lot in this one, share this video with a friend who you think might benefit from learning this stuff, or who just wants to learn about fitness and health in a fun way. Also, if you've learned something about fat loss or exercise that's helpful for you to share with everyone else, leave your story in the comments. The comments are really fun, and that information might help someone else out. As far as those macro tracker apps, I'm gonna leave links in the description below, as well as some of my favorite walking gear. A lot of people ask me what kind of shoes are good, and I have picked out a couple of my favorites right in the description below. I have a friend that told me in the comments that she has a brand new pair of shoes waiting for her as she heals up from a plantar fasciitis injury. And I've said this in past videos of mine, that new gear can act as a symbol of your aspiration to encourage you to get over that hump and inspire you to get into great shape. So if you just can't get over that hump, then download one of those 2 apps, buy a new pair of shoes, and that might just be enough to get you moving. All right, that's it. Keep up the great work, and I'll see you in the next one.